press conference called by
Hey, one and all, welcome to this Ride Along live broadcast. It is a impromptu broadcast as we cover the press conference resignation of the NDC leader, Ms. Franca Bernardine. The press conference is already in progress. Let's see if we could join them right now.
And next to him, of course, is our General
we could join them, guys,
Secretary,
right now. The press conference has already started.
So we welcome you all once again. And I want to say that this conference has been called as a result of the recent resignation of our political leader, Sister Franca Bernardine. And basically, we are going to chart the way forward, because based on what I certainly have been hearing is that there has been some questions, not questions, but concerns as to how NDC ought to proceed and will be proceeding. So we will give you an outline as to what our members and the public can expect. At this point, I wish to introduce or to invite Brother Terry Forrester to introduce our first speaker. Brother Forrester.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and pleasant good morning to other members.
Before we go further, let me apologize that for some reason the broadcast does not have any visual. We were told that it was a televised press conference, but we're not getting any visual on our end. So what you're seeing is what's coming through the conference. Hopefully they recognize that and change that setting very soon, because we're seeing exactly what you're seeing on the screen. So let's go back to the press conference.
It's part of the Constitution of the National Democratic Congress that in the event the leader steps down or is unable to continue performing his or her duties, then the deputy will just naturally take over. It is also part of the Constitution that whenever a convention is called, at this point in time, then the party delegates will choose its leader for the next ensuing period. So it is my great pleasure to introduce the deputy political leader existing at this time, Mr. Adrian Persuader Thomas. He holds a diploma in general agriculture from the Eastern Caribbean Institute of Agriculture and Forestry. He also holds a Bachelor of Law degree from the University of Wolverhampton. He is a former teacher. He is a former Deputy Labor Commissioner within the Ministry of Labor. He has served there for many, many years. He is also a community organizer and continues to be a community organizer in the constituency of St. David. He has been a former president of the Calypso Association and a former member of the Grenada Nutmeg Association. Without any further ado, I'll now like to invite Brother Persuader Thomas to the floor.
Again, guys, let me apologize for the visuals. As you guys could see, there's a big NDC sign there. There's no video coming through the Zoom. We were told that it is a press conference, a visual press conference, but we're not getting any video feed at the moment. We're still checking in.
I really and truly want to be friends with you, and it's a pleasure to have you all here this morning. And I may not go through the subject matter that brought us here, because I think you're quite aware of it. But I will. I really want to express my happiness for having you here today. I know for a fact that we are on the same high sea. We are traveling. We all want to see Grenada go forward, and we have to work together as a political organization. I know for a fact that the politicians like to um, have a good relationship with the media. And I know also for a fact that the media like to mingle with us. And we are happy to have you here this morning. Brothers and sisters, we always have, in the National Democratic Congress, we really and truly like to put the party under the microscope. And we are not afraid to give the media the opportunity to have a dialogue with us. What happened yesterday was just internal, and we thought we were obligated to speak to the nation via the media. And here we are today. We are at your disposal as a result of the resignation of our political leader. As Brother Terry said, I stand here as a deputy political leader. She has resigned, so it's my responsibility, according to the Constitution, to step up as the acting political leader for the time being until the National Democratic Congress has its next convention. It's rather unfortunate that we have to go through this little crisis, but many political organizations go through situations like that. NDC is no exception, and we are man enough to stand up to it and make sure that we put structures in place to continue the good work of Sister Franca. What she said to the media yesterday in her statement is the gospel truth. There is no need for me to go through that. We have to look at it objectively and take it. As she said, this medical issues is somebody's personal matters, and I really hope that the general public take it as she presents it. Sometimes we don't prepare for those things, but situations do arise, and we have to really and truly rise to the occasion and do what we're supposed to do. Nature of a way of taking its course, and that's exactly what happened. I will personally like to say thanks to Sister Franca. And really and truly, we appreciate the contribution she has made. For the last 12 years, she was involved in active politics in Grenada, and she has made a significant dent in the political arena in Grenada, Carriacou, Pitimatic, and also the wider Caribbean community. My brothers and sisters, she has spent 5 years in the cabinet, and I was not in cabinet, but by speaking to my fellow colleagues who had the opportunity to sit in cabinet with her, we really and truly have no choice but to admit the fact that she was one of the best education ministers that maybe the Caribbean had ever seen. And many of the members in the National Democratic Congress were very happy to have that relationship with Sister Franca. And we look forward in terms of working with her in the future. She has resigned from the political leader position. She has also resigned from caretaker of the party, but she has not resigned from the National Democratic Congress. And she gave us all assurances that in times of need, we can call on her. And I'm very happy to have Sister Franca Bernardine at my disposal in terms of going forward. I pledge to continue the work that she has set in motion. There are many projects she has started. I'm quite aware of them. And she has given me all the information in terms of how we go forward. And I will definitely continue in that direction. Plus the new work that we had in place, especially to start from January 2021. Very early in 2021, or even late in 2020, we'll be rolling out the roadmap in terms of the National Democratic Congress and going forward. And I know definitely we will depend on the media a lot to really and truly give us the kind of publicity that we really need in terms of going forward. Once again, we say a heartfelt thank you to Sister Franca, but not only to Sister Franca, because her mom, who just celebrated 100 years a couple days ago, hours ago, being in politics is not easy to attend to your mother. In other words, her mother was deprived of valuable time that Sister Franca had to place in the politics, and we are very grateful to our mom for that. We cannot forget her children, her 5 children. I had the privilege of growing up with my great-grandmother, and I know what grandparents' love is. And if we're going to have Sister Franca in politics and her grandchildren doesn't get the opportunity, we have to be grateful to even the children and the grandchildren. So once again, we say a heartfelt thank you to Sister Franca. I want to highlight here this morning, my brothers and sisters, that in the National Democratic Congress, we do not have a crisis of leadership. In the National Democratic Congress, we have a succession plan. And that may have been demonstrated time and time again. When Uncle Tilly left, we didn't have a crisis. When Nazim Buck left, we didn't have a crisis. Sister Franca has departed, and we don't have a crisis. I want to give the Grenadian public the assurance that the National Democratic Congress is not headless. We have a sense of direction, we have a sense of purpose, and we'll be heading in the direction that will take the Grenadian people in the position that they ought to be, and not where some narrow-minded people think that they should be. We want to make sure that the Grenadian people live a life that is equitable to many Caribbean islands and the world, and we have the resources to do just that. So the National Democratic Congress will be going in that direction. We have experienced in Grenada the whole question of political parties rise and fall. And many times they fall, when the leader goes, the party goes. And this was well demonstrated by the GLP. It was also demonstrated by even the revolution. When Morris Bishop didn't dead yet, he was under house arrest and the revolution crumbled. The NDC is not heading in that direction. We have learned our lesson, and whenever we have situations like that, we have structures in place to ensure that the party does not remain headless. In going forward, as I said, in 2020, late in 2020 or early 2021, you will hear from the National Democratic Congress the plans that we have in store, the roadmap, and you will please stay tuned because you will definitely get that it is coming. We will continue having our meetings with the stakeholders. We have been reaching out to many stakeholders, the Conference of Churches, the trade unions, the Bar Association, and many other organizations that have a role to play in our society. Sometimes we feel that we can govern by ourselves without utilizing the skills and experience of the stakeholders. And sometimes we even govern without consulting with the people. So we will not make that mistake. And we have plans in terms of going forward to make sure that the stakeholders play a critical role in the governance of this country. I said stakeholders, and I didn't say MWAG. Before the year ends, I want to promise you, this organization will be sitting around the table with the National Democratic Congress. We have issues to raise with you, and I am sure that you do have issues to raise with us. And therefore, you have a role to play in society. Just like the politician has a role, the media has a role, and we want to make sure that we create the avenue that the media can play the kind of role that it's supposed to play in the development of our society. Not in the development of any political party or any political leader or any journalist individually. Your contribution, like the politicians, must be in the development of our society. And we are ready to facilitate that process. We have come to the conclusion that we have to join hands together. We have to come together in order to build this country. Unity is key in going forward. And therefore, the NGOs, political organizations will not be any exception. We will be talking to them. And sooner than later, I can guarantee you, before the end of December, before Christmas, every single one of these organizations, NGO stakeholders, will be hearing from Adrian Thomas. Directly, not via secretary or via the GS, but directly. I'll be picking up the phone and calling people and letting them know that the time has come for Grenada and the forces in Grenada to unite and take this country forward. My brothers and sisters, there are a group of people that we have to pay special attention to in this country. The young people. We cannot continue to fail the young people as politicians. Our society has not put the structures in place to even guarantee a job. At the age of 18, 19, I was already a teacher with a confirmed position, with a job that it was permanent. And even after 4 months in the public service, I could have gone to NCD, the dead bank in Civilian, and say, I want a loan of $2,000, $3,000 to buy a little fridge and a little stove to put in my house. And that is the kind of environment we have to create for the young people in this country. We cannot afford to have people on a temporary job. 15 years working and you're still not appointed. You still cannot go anywhere. You're still in your parents' home. My brothers and sisters, we have to change that. We have to get the people, we have to stop mama-guying people in this country and give them the kind of privilege that many of us had only 15, 20 years ago. It's not long. So we will be talking to the young people, and we'll be talking to the young women in particular in this country. We'll be continuing on the whole question of our Zoom meetings. We started that program and we will continue. And as I said to you, in the footsteps of Sister Frankel, and in addition to some of our programs, the National Democratic Congress will continue doing the good work and to put ourselves in a position so we can be a viable opposition political organization that can change the landscape of guerrilla politics. I thank you.
Thank you. So thank you, my brother Adrian, for your passionate and very pointed manner in which we have to take the country forward. And you pointed out that we have a structure in place in relation to leadership handover. So we do not have a leadership problem. So we just wanted to give this sort of message to our members and our followers that we are here continuing the work of our esteemed political leader just resigned, of Sister Franca Bernardine. So I wish to introduce now our General Secretary, who will give you further outline as to some of the things the party has been doing and will do in the near future. Brother Glenn Noel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair of today's proceeding and the chairman of the party, Brother Terry Moore. Let me join with the others before me and to welcome and to thank the media for being here this morning, to let you know that we attach great significance to the work of the media. We see the media as a safeguard of the democratic process in the country. And as some people will say, the fourth estate. Sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin by, first of all, recognizing the sterling contribution that Sister Franca Bernardine has made to the country and to the people of Grenada and to the NDC party in particular. I have had the distinct pleasure of working with her in the government led by the Tillman Thomas, Prime Minister Tillman Thomas, and her service and her performance as a Minister of Education has been more than remarkable. I've known her for quite some time. When she was at NULO, I had the pleasure of visiting NULO, doing several lectures to the students. I engaged her while she was at PALM as well. And also when she worked with the Peace Corps, then being the president of SEDU, we had to interact very often. She placed in workers at the disposal of SEDU. But I've really worked closely with her as a government minister and in the party. And so it is a difficult time for everyone. We thank her for her contribution and her family. And we wish her all the best in the future. And we look forward to working with her. Having said that, I think it's important for me to make the point that one of the features of political organizations, there's a reason why there is a deputy party leader, because it means that in the absence of the leader, there is a leader. So the deputy leader takes over. And I'm happy to continue to provide the support and work along with Brother Adrian Thomas, Persuader, somebody, again, I know pretty well over the years. We worked together many, many moons ago as it relates to the development of culture in Grenada, Calypso Association and beyond. So it's someone that I know pretty well. And I look forward to providing the same support that I provided for Brother Tillman Thomas, the same support that I provided for Nazim Buck, the same support that I provided for Joseph Andal, the same support that I provided for Sister Franca Bonadin. Brother Persuader Thomas can be assured that they will continue to get my support as the General Secretary of the party. I want to reassure our party members and citizens of Grenada that the NDC party is an institution and we are very much alive. Over the last 30 years, there may have been more than 40 political parties that rose up and many of them fell. But the NDC continued to be alive and continue to get at least 40% of the electorate. And I see that the way ahead is for us to increase that and for us to do much better in the next election. And we are very much on track. So there's no need to worry. I want to allay your fears that the political infrastructure is being laid. You can't move forward without political infrastructure. Most of our working committees are in place. We have a policy committee.
Again, guys, let me just add that we were reassured that this press conference would have been transmitted live via this Zoom platform. But going in, it's been at least, 15 minutes into it, we were not fed any visual. So what you're seeing is what we're seeing. There's absolutely nothing that we could do on our end and to monitor it. But I want you guys to stay tuned because we're gonna analyze this whole press conference here once it has been concluded. But there are no visual on our end, and I can see in Maryland and everyone else that's commenting. I see, and we're seeing exactly what you've seen, but they're not sending us any video, and there's nothing that we could do to change that at the moment. All right, we're trying to see if there's any other video feed that we could pick up, but just bear with us because that's what we are getting fed right here back at our broadcast headquarters.
The organization, the Women's they just had a recent general meeting where a new executive was elected. Most of our constituency branches, the constituency branch and the polling division groups, the village groups are the foundation of any political party. And what we can see at this point in time is not something that you make noise about. If you're building an army, you're not going to be going out there and tell the enemy how much tank you have and how much machine gun you have, right? The same way that it is, those internal processes is not things that you go out and boast about in terms of where you are. But I can see that we have done a lot of work to ensure that the village groups, the polling division groups, the constituency branches are all on the way. In some cases, new chairpersons have been elected and appointed. And I can assure you too that we are well on our way in terms of selecting our 15 caretakers. That once they move from the transition of caretakers and an election is called, then they'll become candidates and participate in the next election. So that work is very much in progress. The fact that the leader resigned, as important as she is and the role that she has played, doesn't necessarily mean that there is a setback and that the party would not go forward. We are going forward with our plans. In fact, this weekend, and we have an activity tomorrow at Hermitage, where we have a kind of fun day, sports day, bringing people together to socialize and at the same time raising some much needed funds. In fact, our breakfast fundraising activity continues almost every Saturday or at the end of each month. More than 8 constituencies usually engage in that kind of fundraising activity and social event. In addition to that, we have seen that the whole question of public engagement, we are at the stage now where most of the constituencies are getting out on the ground and doing field work, engaging and meeting and interacting with the public. In addition to that, there are ongoing efforts to ensure that our members and potential members and supporters are registered, and we are addressing the issue facing the electoral office. So, in a nutshell, work is on the way, the kind of work that political parties are doing. We have increased our public relations activity, so we would be competitive, and I think that the NDC is the party to be for the future of Grenada. We also want to inform you and ask you to join us in another activity. We have an activity on the 12th of December. That is NDC Men Can Cook. So the men will be showing off their culinary skills. I would be hard to beat. I mean, I would be very, very difficult. It will be difficult for somebody to put forward something that will be as tasty as mine. So really, it's a nice activity where the NDC men are showing their culinary skills, and we are engaging the public, raising some funds one time. And you know, politics is about people, and there are several ways of interacting and getting things done. In addition to that, only recently we have been doing things like assisting as it relates to the repairs of homes. Only recently, as you know, we had the NDC Care Initiative program where we provided food hampers and masks and so forth for a number of people and families and so. So the good news is that the NDC is very much alive and that there is continuity in the NDC party. As contrary to other political parties, you have to wonder about the future. If the leader dies or passes away, what happens? In the NDC, we have demonstrated that, because unfortunately over the years, it's not the first time one of our leaders became ill and had to step aside. And there are other circumstances where our resilience as a party has been demonstrated in terms of our ability to survive and our ability to move forward. So to this end, I don't know if I'll have the opportunity to speak to the public again. So I want to use this occasion to say Merry Christmas to everyone, because we're not too far away. It seems like a long way, but it's not too far away. And to also say that the advent of COVID has really presented what I will call unprecedented challenges, socioeconomic challenges to all of us, the whole people of Grenada. And it means that it calls for all of us to come together to look at our survival, because they are really deep and profound economic and social challenges to this nation. And the NDC believe that while we will play a leading role, but the answer does not lie with any one political party. No one political party has monopoly over the solution. And therefore, we're looking forward to bring people together and to say, listen, as a people, we need to come together to really discuss some of the most burning issues that affect our nation and to find common grounds and to come together. And I want to also use this opportunity to say to people, do not take COVID-19 for granted. We must strike that unit balance of ensuring that life continues in terms of the economic life of the country, but at the same time, we must protect ourselves. So please follow the protocols as it relates to the social distancing and using all of the things that have been proposed to us. Let's be safe and let's do what is good for all of us. At the end of the day, we are all Grenadians and we're looking forward, working together. So I thank you very much.
So once again, I want to thank our General Secretary for his. Thank the General Secretary for his.
Again, guys, you're watching our live broadcast here. We are not getting any video feed. Please stand by. We were reassured that video would be coming through this particular stream. I'm aware that other platforms may have the video as well, but it's not coming to the platform that all other media stream are supposed to be getting the feed from. Stand by.
Very high on the list to be a winner in the Men Can Cook. But I want to tell him that there are dark horses that can come and win the prize. So I'm not behind back. So fellow media personnel, I took away from him that sense of continuity in the NDC and the resilience of the party. And I think that this is very important, that our supporters, the general public, understands that we are not going to be sitting idly by and just watching things fall apart. We will be united, teaming up to take this country to a different level and our party to where it ought to be. I will now at this point invite any questions that may have come in on the media or any of our personnel here want to ask a question. Christina John from GBN. How are you, Christina? Okay.
I have a few questions, maybe about three and different perhaps your response that I have also. But my first question is on the recognition of the party as well, which will help to was there a prior discussion or did that come as a surprise to anyone?
Well, it was not well, let us put it this way. We were aware that this Bernardine has been going through, as you said in the press conference, stress, and we also had discussion with her. But there comes a time when you have to look after your family, look after yourself, and it's while it was present at this point in time that come a situation that is beyond our control, and based on her medical advice from her doctors, she had to make the decision. So it's not that it was a surprise yesterday morning for seeing, but it's we have been informed and we have had dialogue and we have been chatting about it, and it comes to a point where we couldn't ask her to hold on anymore.
There have also been suggestions of have been thrown out that perhaps the NDC should be merged with that organization that was recently run, the TGM. Has there been any consideration because
I'm not too familiar with the political parties that NGOs merging together to propose to say. What I can say though is that we are quite willing to work with people, whether you're a stakeholder, whether you're an NGO, whether you're a political party. And most and foremost, I will continue to talk about even the people who are in our organization, and they may have had differences with our program and how we govern and so on. We are quite willing to talk with them and see how we, at the end of the day, we want to make sure we have a coalition of forces that have the same objective, going on in the same, in other words, we are the rough sea. Let's take it in. We are the rough sea in the same boat, heading for the same direction. So we have to be talking to each other. And the NGO is no exception. I know quite a few people in this particular organization. And once, as a matter of fact, I said to you, I will not call everybody and refuse to call the leaders of that particular NGO. So I will be talking to them.
My final question,
I just want to
Troy.
on the question that she asked, because given the success, should I say, of coalition governments in the Caribbean region, has there any consideration that just in addition to what you do?
Well, coalition governments, governments, you're talking about 2 or 3 parties win a couple of seats and you're trying to put something together to form a government. That is one instance that it can happen. And at the same time, they can form political forces coming together to contest an election, like we had in 1976 with the Alliance, when NGM and GNP and Christian Democratic Party came together and they had this alliance and they went forward. Actually, they did not form the government, but they captured as much as 6 out of the 50. Should we take a selfish position and say we're not merging with anybody? The time comes for that, and it's the interest of the country. We have no choice as a nation. So the foolish of any political party not to join forces based on circumstances to help and develop our society. So we are all in for it. As I said to you, mark my word, before Christmas, I'll be touching base with every single potential force in the leader that can help and contribute to building our society.
Thank you, Brother DPL. Mr. You want to continue your third question?
Yes.
Mhm.
There are also calls for younger girls to the party. Have you been given any consideration to that and any
Adding to what we already have. Oh,
We have always been put in
DPL.
through the line outside for young people to come and join our party. And I must give credit to Brother Nazim. I think he made us in that last campaign for the last 2 years before the election, 2016 from 2018. He actually, I mean, the part of our policy agenda is really to put the young people at the forefront. And we will never lose faith in our young people. We think they have a serious contribution to make, and I believe that we have to continue talking to them. I am hurt with the pain that our young people go through these days. I am hurt. Because as I said to you before in my presentation, you cannot be 25 years and still don't have a permanent job. You cannot be 40 years with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, one child, and still in your mother's house. And instead of thinking of purchasing a piece of land, instead of thinking of building a home, you have to think about building an upstairs in your mother's house. At the age of 25, I was already thinking about land. Because why? I had a permanent job. I was empowered. The society was looking after young people much more than we are looking after it now. I think the GS might be able to give us some more advice on the whole question of organizing young people to come and do that as yes.
It is expected that every political organization will speak about its interest in young people, because every political organization will be very cognizant of the percentage of the population that consists of young people, well over 60%. So you can't be in the marketplace and not be cognizant of that and do not take steps, to ensure that at least you fulfill that aspect. But it's one thing to say and one thing to do. And the best way political parties demonstrate their commitment is by policy, to make some clear, distinct policy. So one of the things we recognize, also the issue of women, right? Gender mainstreaming is very critical for us to ensure that there is a balance. We are working along to meet the United Nations quota to ensure that more than 30% of our MPs, for example, candidates are women. So in this regard, we have taken the policy position that we're looking for no less than 5 of our 15 caretakers to be women. And we're looking for no less than 4 of our candidates, caretakers, to be 35 years and under in terms of youth. So if you look at that balance, let's take, for example, we put out 15 caretakers. Already you will have 5 women, 4 youth. So we finding a balance and that talk about the future and thinking about the future. So the answer is yes, and there will be a massive recruitment drive to go out there and to recruit and organize more young people. And when we had the opportunity, we demonstrated it by having one of the youngest senator ever, and Sister Kirin James and Brother Ron Redhead, and we wanted to continue that work.
But I just want to correct you on one issue, Mr. GS. The limitation is not 5 women. Once they come,
yeah, that was still no less than.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that, because that would have been my follow-up question to that. If you know about the gender balance.
Yeah.
Gender balance is important for us.
I just could read faces and eyes. Yeah.
We have a question from the media coming in from Mr. Junior George.
Yeah, could you guys hear us?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Brother Persuader, how you doing, sir? Brother Glenn Noel, how you guys doing?
Hey, Chief.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see you guys on the Zoom. We're all primed up, trying to carry this live, but unfortunately, we're just being met by a black screen. So we're not getting any visual on the screen. We're just sharing you guys, but that's not the major part of what I wanted to talk about. I have John Crow on the line as well here with me. Brother Persuader, the question is to you, sir. I want you to persuade us. I want you to persuade the world that's watching right now. On your in your earlier statement, you said that there is no lack of leadership. There is no lack of leadership in the party. But when you look at the structure and what's been happening for the past few years, we had the former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas resign after he didn't regain his seat. We have the party leader Nazim Burke, who also resigned after losing the election last. And then we have now Franca Bernardine, who resigned after almost 1 year. How could you accept and admit that the NDC doesn't have a leadership problem? I want you to persuade us and persuade the world as to how could you make that statement in regards to the leadership in the party?
I'm speaking in the context. Whenever the crisis arises, we will definitely have candidates to take the position. The question of the availability of leaders is not a problem. I don't know if you're looking at it from another perspective in regards to our leaders. I guess you're looking at our leaders may be a problem. But when Uncle Tilly left, he left on the basis of he had enough in politics. Comrade Bucker left on the basis that he lost 2 elections and he thought maybe give somebody else a chance. It's not that he wants to hold on as if he's the most indispensable individual in the political arena. Sister Franca left not because the nation calling her to leave or to go, but she left on the basis of illness. And therefore, knowing that no one is indispensable, people have no fear to leave the National Democratic Congress in that regards, because we have people available to fall in line and to fall in position. I don't know if I answer your question satisfactorily, but really and truly is in that context I was making the point.
Okay. We've seen, so many, well, I guess social media and the way how we look at it, there was so many opportunities where the party failed to lead, or failed to respond as the opposition party, not the newly elected opposition party, but as the main opposition party in many instances. Could you give us an idea as to why the party was so muted on a lot of different issues? Why it took so long before or at all for the party to make a decision or come out with some kind of information that would give its supporters and the population, as in contrast in what's happening with the leading party? What took so long, or is there a problem in terms of getting your press information out to the general public?
Well, are you talking about any particular issue, or are you just generalizing everything?
Well, I mean, John Crow is on with me as well, and that's one of the things that we in the diaspora here, we're very muted in terms of getting information. John Crow, I don't know if you want to speak to a specific issue.
No, I had put up the post a couple months ago that good morning everybody, that we're simply responding to issues that come up. Like for instance, the last one was the voter, is it a voter registration? Not the voter registration. What was that thing again they had? But anyway, there are several issues. I'll give you a specific one. We have had several accusations of police officers stepping, if you would, step out of line, so to speak, right? We've had this recently, the shooting of the senior who, in a moment of whatever it is, retaliated to his son getting shot. We've had a lot of different, we have the issue of the people with the dog. We've had the issue of children and lunch, and the program that you started, meaning the party started. And there seems to be a slow dredge-like response coming out of NDC, that we're not hearing your voice. We're not hearing you up front and center, holding the fire to the feet of the ruling party. You know, and for us, it seems like there's nobody at home. The lights are on, but there's nobody at home. That's that. You know, if I could get, I mean, I can't get more specific than that for now. For now.
Before the end of the before 6 o'clock. Okay, brother.
Yes, good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
I have a number of questions. Some are straightforward and some might be a little bit lengthy in answering. Ms. Benedine would have served for less than, that is a little more than a year. From the political party as leadership, as well as we said from the constituency. Can you tell us, based on your constitution, who will be the replacement for her in the constitution, or it is a decision has to wait for further along? My other question is, when will be the party's next convention? Because that would assist in knowing how long Mr. Costrada would remain for as acting leader. And Junior would have asked a question regarding to leadership. My third question has to do with from 2013 to now, this is a total of 7 years. The party, with the inclusion of Mr. Thomas, would be seeing 4 persons leading the party. Do you think that the voters out there, the community, investors, and persons who are watching your growth and development, having 4 different persons leading the party within a 7-year period, do you think that they will see that as some sort of concern? My fourth question has to do is relationship with other organizations. Can you tell us whether or not there is a working relationship with the recently launched Grenada movement? And finally, for now, is the National Democratic Congress in discussion to return Michael Church, who were expelled from the party, back to the party? That's my 5 questions for now.
Good.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Strickler. As it relates to the first question, the constitution of the NDC makes room for the deputy political leader to act and to take over the full role and responsibility of the political leader in the absence of the political leader. So whether that absence is temporary in the sense that the leader travels or the leader dies or the leader resigns or whatever it is, the deputy party, there's a reason why there is a deputy. And in selecting a deputy, you look at somebody who could act and who could replace the leader if that need to be. So the qualities of that person is closely related to that of the leader. When you're looking for a leader, you're looking for a deputy as well, just in case you have a bump on the road and that person has to take over. So
Mr. Not to cut across you, but it was not on the leader of the party, but the constituency, a replacement in the constituency.
Of the
Constituency
right.
leadership.
Yes, well, automatically, what we have been doing is to look at the issue of caretakers. And in every constituency, we have more than one potential caretaker. Generally, when there are more than one caretaker, there is a process of where the constituency will decide via an election, right? The people will be nominated, and at the end of the day, one person would be selected based on the democratic process and so. So in the case of the St. George Southeast, somebody else was being groomed just in case there is some bump along the way. So I want to say that there is someone in consideration. And in fact, the party leader herself has been grooming that person. So we're quite clear that there is some succession plan as it relates to that. There was
Convention.
the convention. There will be a general council in the first quarter of next year, and the general council will set and determine the next date for the convention. You have to take into consideration we are meeting in unusual circumstances and trying times as it relates to COVID, where there are protocols and restrictions as it relates to the number of persons that could gather. And a convention will mean delegates from all of the constituency, and we're talking about 400 plus persons. So to get the 6 feet apart distance in any one building in Grenada will provide a challenge. We also will be looking at the possibility of doing it by remote, but it means how many of the delegates will be able to participate via Zoom or any one of the platforms, and how easy that will be. So that we have to adapt to the current situation. And I think even all of the political parties are affected in that way. I've just heard that the NNP recently had to cancel or to postpone for the time being, I think a general council or so, and it's in keeping with the COVID situation. As it relates to, as we have said, any political party who understands its role and function must be prepared to collaborate and to work closely with all other stakeholders and political organizations that you have something in common, the development of the country and principles and core values that we see dear to us. And we are open, we have an open mind, we have been engaged in dialogue with individuals, with persons that belong to any one of the political groups and organizations. Now, the framework, the conditions that will be necessary for a coalition or a merger and everything like that will evolve. And if it evolves and there is a need for it, first of all, our constituents, which is our membership, we are guided by them. And if the majority of the NDC membership say we need to work together and the other parties are interested in working together, then we would. We also open to any other individual. We have shared many platforms with, for example, Earl Maitland of GEM. And yes, we have had dialogue with individual members of the movement, because one Grenada, one agenda for the development of the people of Grenada. That is what is important to us. So we have an open mind. And just one thing, as it relates to the issue, there is always a need and room for any political organization to step up as it relates to its public relations activity. So there's always room to improve and to be able to respond and so. But I must say that sometimes some things go unnoticed. For example, we met with the family of the policeman, the Rasta guy who was shot, and his dad was eventually shot and killed. We met with the family, the party leader and the deputy party leader met with the family, and we have put out a statement as it relates to excesses, as it relates to the police force, on the matter of the St. John's issue, and several other issues. In the age of social media, where individuals can just go on social media as an individual, looking for likes sometime and just speaking, sometimes the mainstream media and what a political party do in the conventional, traditional way can get lost. So of course we have to look at what other medium we can use that will enhance our PR capacity and capabilities, and we'll be looking at that. But we take the comment and we're looking to improve, and we want to be in the know and to be in the marketplace and to be relevant.
Mr. Noel, there are two other questions I asked. One, if there is talk to return Mr. Church to the party, and the concern of having 4 leaders over a 7-year period.
Well, I will attribute having 4 leaders who had to step down because of different circumstances, and the party is still vibrant and alive, as a plus and not a minus. In other words, yes, you would like to see one person remain for as long as you could, have some kind of continuity and so. But you take in the case of Brother Tillman Thomas, he did say to the nation that he was prepared only to serve for, if the party had won the election a second term, 2 terms, right? And he felt at this point in time, having spent 30-something years in politics, it was time for him to bow out. And it takes a lot of courage to do that, because most people get drunk by power, you know. In the case of Nazim Burke, he felt, well, given what is happening around me, let me open up the process, let other people get involved, and I saw that as being very selfless. That being very selfless. As it relates to Sister Franca Bernardine, well, the circumstances is beyond her control and our control, and it's not one that speak about any dynamics within the party itself, but just health condition. But the fact that we have somebody that the rest of us in the leadership of the party and the executive feel comfortable and prepared to support and work along with them suggests that we are not overly concerned. So yes, when you look at it on the surface, one may see that you have changed 4 leaders over a period of time. But different parties have different circumstances and different situations. Not all of us sometimes travel the same road for different reasons. Life gives us different hand, and it's how we deal with it. And I think we have dealt with the hand that we have been given pretty well, and we want to reassure the public that if you look at what has happened, there hasn't been any follow-up over any one of them stepping down. The party didn't mash up, the party didn't crumble, there was no confusion, there is no struggle between people within the party. That has been absent. So the NDC has turned that page, and we know one close-knit family, and we intend to continue. And the door is open. There are a lot of people that feel they could make a contribution to the political process. Brother Persuader as deputy leader, and as somebody has a right to aspire to be the leader. But what I can tell you is that he's not selfish and would not put a stumbling block, because we are an inclusive group, and we call upon any single Grenadian who believes that they can make a contribution. and they see that the NDC values and what we subscribe to as good, they can come in, they can add to the mix, you know. So the door is open to include others to come in and to make a contribution. And if you have talent and you have leadership skills, you can rise to any level in any organization. You should have such ambition. So I want to say to a lot of the persons out there who are fed up with the current administration, who want to see change, stop sitting on the fence and so. If you believe you could do a better job than any one of us in the party, because we believe in Grenada and Grenada comes first, we will not stand in the way. We'll give you every support. So the door is open, come forward, including you too, Linda. It's a great opportunity to come and make a contribution to the Grenada development process.
I'm still awaiting the answer with Mr. Church. Is there a discussion with him to return him to the party?
Well, I'm going to, I think that, is there another follow-up?
My question is the NDC in talks with Michael Church, who was expelled from the party, to return him to the party?
But that is not the way political party operate. As I said before, that we are in the process of recruitment. Yes, we have had, many of us are on good speaking terms with Michael Church. So if Michael Church wants to return back to his home, the NDC, the door is wide open and we would not put anything in the way, and we're prepared to have a dialogue with him. But at the moment, I'm not aware of any ongoing dialogue that has a date, a time fixed in mind and so. But certainly there is an opportunity.
Apart from PRM speaking on issues, what is the NDC doing for steps to mobilize on the ground? For example, begin with the question of registering voters.
I'll ask the GS to
What we have been doing. Our General Secretary will just continue from where he left off.
It's an important question because a political party cannot ascend to governance, to be in government if the political organization is not cognizant of the need to continue to register your voters, to increase your membership and to increase your support base. As I said before, we have begun the process in St. David and in the south of the island, in St. Patrick West and in St. Andrew Northwest, of active strong mobilization on a Sunday in a direct strategic way. Outside of, and Carriacou as well, outside of that is an ongoing process for all of the constituency branches. We have a registration and canvassing committee, and we also have a membership drive committee in place.
Guys, you're watching a live broadcast here of the press conference, the NDC press conference. And let me also apologize for the visual that did not come in, or we were not getting any visual coming in through our main broadcast, which is the Zoom. How it was set up was that we were supposed to get a Zoom feed. All the media houses was inside of that Zoom. That's supposed to be our main source of audio and video. However, in that specific Zoom that we were supposed to get video from, there were no video. Apparently there are other medias that was receiving the video through different means, not through us, because everybody in there was complaining of the same thing, and we were unable to get any video. We're gonna cut it off right there and talk a little bit with John Crow on what we've heard so far. John Crow, what's your thoughts?
They're not ready yet. They're not ready. They are not ready, and I don't think they're prepared for what's ahead. Keith Mitchell is going to call election very soon. From the various signs, I know he's on a road trip right now to Carriacou and PT Martinique. I think they were in Carriacou last night, and they're going to be doing PT Martinique tonight. This organization, NDC, is not ready for prime time. The response, this last response that they gave on Michael Church is a good indication to how not ready they are. They expelled the guy from the party under whatever circumstances, and now we have no dialogue going. We have no, so there's no, in other words, there's nothing coming from management, from the executive, branch, so to speak, that is speaking to any specifics. And most of the answers that they give, and I just put up a post on their page here that they're not looking confident. I said you're not looking confident. You're not sounding like you are ready. You do not seem to be ready to take over the reins of leadership of the island. You are not sounding like you have a solid plan moving forward. Lots of words, light on substance, and that is how I read them. They're just not ready.
Right. On the question, and Linda Stricker echoed this sentiment, the same question as it relates to the leadership. Within that short space of time, you had 3 or 4 leaders that either lose their
4 leaders out of 4 leaders. Well, call it 5 leaders. 5 leaders out in the last 7 years, and I'm saying 5, including Peter David, because Peter David was one of the part of the leadership of the party when he left. He was not the leader of the party, but he was part of the leadership of the party. So you had to count him in, and so in 7 years you have 5 leaders quit for whatever different reasons. They quit. And yes, they might use health reasons for Franca, but Franca has been missing in action now for as long as she's been holding that position. I've never heard her come out in any strong way against any of the atrocities that have happened in Grenada in the last year at least. And we've had several issues. I tried to outline that a couple of them in the conversation, but the NDC party, they need to what's the right word I want to use? Is it demolish the party or demolish the leadership and rebuild, because they are not ready to take on a force of Mitchell and the NNP party. They're just not ready.
Right. Go ahead, John, finish your thought.
No, I'm saying okay, they're having a major press conference this morning, right? A major press conference. And the woman or the person who is the public relations person can't be present. And then the excuse that is, and again, is an excuse. Well, because she quota whatever, because she's a practicing attorney. But you call a press conference. You call the press conference, and your public relations person is not there. What does that say? And put it for symbolic purposes, the only female you have, if you will, in that position of leadership. And here you have one female who is on the way, well, who's out, and then you have a bunch of men sitting up there just, exhibiting the testosterone level. I mean, come on. This is 2020. You're not fooling anybody with that nonsense. Come on.
Let's bring this back up to speed why we're here. We're having this conversation because of the breaking news from yesterday. The leader of the NDC resigned, citing medical issues. This is how it unfolded yesterday. If you could put some audio visual up on it. This was the announcement that was made yesterday on the resignation of the leader of the party,
Franca
Bernardine.
As General Secretary of the NDC, I received a letter from our party leader, Sister Franca Bernardine, tendering her resignation as party leader and as caretaker for the constituency of Southeastern Georges. Following that letter, we had a brief discussion, and during that discussion, we agreed that we will have a statement where she will address the nation on the reason for her resignation. In this regard, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Sister Franca Bernardine.
Thank you very much, General Secretary, and a pleasant afternoon to all Grenadians, and of course our NDCites and everyone in the nation. So, pleasure to be here, it always is, even under the circumstances. It is with regret that I have taken the decision to step out of the politics for medical reasons. My doctors have indicated that the stress levels are too high and I run the risk of shortening my life. So I have come out. The stress is having a very negative impact on my health and has created a number of factors that will disappear if the stress factor is reduced. So I have little choice. For medical reasons, I must resign from both positions. The timing is good because 1 year ago, to date, to month, I assumed the responsibility of being the political leader and agreed to let it run for a period of a year so that I could see how things develop and how things are proceeding. I must say as well that it took me 9 months before that, careful evaluating, looking at before accepting such a position. So there's been careful deliberation at every stage of this. I want to say that NDC will always be my party. And it's largely because their core values and policies, their ethical values are consistent with my own. I believe in these concepts and ideas and philosophies. This is where my personal belief rests. Transparency and accountability, and above all, putting people first. These are values that I am committed to as a person. I wish the party well. I am right here and will lend whatever support I can when I can. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so that was the announcement that was made yesterday by the former, I guess we could say former leader of the NDC on a resignation, citing health issues. Janko, what does that mean now for organization like TGM and other political organization? Do you think that it's an opportunity for them to insert themselves in the political, more firmly in the political arena?
It's a perfect storm. I could use that phrase for any party right now that is like chomping at the bit, chomping at leadership in the island, because there's a leadership void. There's a political leadership void. You have one party that is there forever, and you have these upstarts who are all in a upstart position. They're not solid. NDC should be the party that is really kicking up dust right now, and okay. Even though Franca stepped down, even though Tillman stepped down, and even though they have lost all of these, if you will, prominent people, so to speak, right? They should be at this stage of the game in a position where, even though they lose people like Franca, etc., that they should have the quality. Okay, it's one thing to say, well, okay, Posweda is the leader, etc., right? But does he come with the quality or the qualities necessary in order to take over the party, and take the party up to the level where you
but
want
what
to
are some of the prime qualities? What are some of the prime qualities? I would think, looking at the leadership and looking at leadership in particular, I always look at a transformative figure like Obama, who were able to inspire people, give people a sense of, hope. That's important, right?
Yes.
Let people feel like there are better days ahead of us.
Yes.
And someone who could really inspire. In Grenada, there's a very large voting block of youths, right?
Well, okay, and I'm glad you take me there. And they do not have. Look at the men who are sitting at that table this morning, right? They have not demonstrated that kind of. I call it the person who is able to speak to the farmer, speak to the market vendor, as well as speak to the president of any organization and association, bank owner, bank manager, hotel owner, hotel manager, as at the same time able to go under the cocoa and talk to the person who is cutting task on our estate. I mean, and you go to Obama, I go to Gary. I mean, that is one of the things that Gary had that most of our leaders, or very few of the leaders of our country, have been able to do. The only person that they have right now in that party who has that magnetism is Tillman Thomas. So far they have not. There's nobody else who have come up the ranks, so to speak, to show that those kind of qualities. Franca could not walk into the market at the same time. You know, she might have a friend or two, but in terms of a general, and they would listen to Franca, or Persuade, or any of these guys in them who are sitting up there. I mean, they speak very well. They have language, you know. And yes, of course they could talk to whomever, but in terms of like you said just now, persuade me, convince me that you have the qualities. Convince me that I could get the young man on the block who is looking for a spliff to smoke, or you know, who's sitting at the bar looking for a drink. Convince me that you can convince them to vote for you based on whatever you are telling them that you're going to do for the country. Yeah. And that is what this party does not seem to understand. You have to be in touch with people. You can't be ruling from an ivory tower. Right. You have to engage, and especially now we have a very large young population. Population in Grenada is relatively young. I'm not talking young, 40 years old. I mean, you have some 40-year-old calling themselves youth. I ain't talking about them kind of people. I'm talking about people who are 20 and 25 and those kind of age group who are up and coming and looking for some direction. Okay. One of the things I want to, as I see it pop up again on the screen, one of the problems I have with Grenada and the political organizations, Terry came in and talked about heartbeat, whatever they call the program, right? So which means that they have access to equipment, that they have access to technical support. Now, they know they're going to do a press conference. And for the life of me, we are black-skinned people, no question, right? You cannot do a press conference, and I'm going into a technical area right here, because that's what I do, right? You cannot call a press conference or or do a presentation, and you know you're going to do camera, especially nowadays, nobody doing no press conference and it's just microphone alone, okay? Put up a goddamn light and light up the set, light the person up, light up the people, microphone, use microphones, adequate microphones to make sure that you are seen and to make sure that you are heard. If you don't know how to do that, call on the people who have the skill and the technology and make it happen. This nonsense of people sitting there at a table and they have to raise a microphone and pass it around and them kind of thing like that. That's back in the day when I was in SAS, and we probably had one mic, if we had one mic at all.
I'm more concerned about. I'm concerned about
that too.
And you brought it up, the fact that that Claudette was not able to. Claudette was not there. Secondly, you know, it seems a level of unprepared. They wasn't prepared for a number of things. I mean, this broadcast, they alerted the media that this broadcast was supposed to happen. We allocated time. I took my time from doing whatever I had to do to bring this press conference live, hooked up to the medium that we were expecting to get a video from. I mean, it doesn't speak to anything political, what they were politically, but it speaks to a matter of preparedness. And that press conference, they really wasn't prepared to bring this press conference. Probably they should have held it off until they were fully prepared, and then that it would have been a good opportunity. And another thing where I think that NDC, they really need to, I don't know if it's the people, the advisors that they have, you know, I'm not sure, right? But look at one other big opportunity that they missed. This is a missed opportunity. This is a missed opportunity, because had they come with proper video and everything, there will be a lot more people watching. They would have get an opportunity to share it, to tell their story to a bigger audience. Secondly, they had an opportunity when they announced the decriminalization or legalization of marijuana, that announcement that was made, a good opportunity. Instead of placing this particular news conference on a Monday or Tuesday evening where it could run through the week, they did it on a Friday afternoon. The Friday afternoon is dead. It's a dead day. You go into the weekend, you don't get the media publicity. You don't get that media follow-up because that's into the weekend. By Monday, there's something else that's still the spotlight. And
Another story.
you don't get that. That's another missed opportunity. So I don't know who the advisors are on the NDC side. I don't know who are telling them how to place the medium. I just think that there have been a lot of missed opportunities.
They're not ready, Junior. They are not ready. The next election, keep winning again, 15 zip, because NDC is just not ready. They do not understand. They do not understand the medium. The medium that we're working with today is not back in 1955 or 51 when Gary first came on the scene. Okay, we had the Torchlight newspaper. That was one newspaper they had in Grenada. Or and you know, that was it. Nowadays you have literally everybody in Grenada is a reporter nowadays, because whether they like NDC or they like NNP, everybody have a channel where they're going to broadcast whatever it is that they have, whatever it is that they're showcasing, whatever it is that they dislike, and we vocalize what we like and dislike, whether we on NDC side or we on NNP side. Okay, the new parties coming in, I mean, they are the young folk and the younger folk, and they seem to be gravitating towards, again, social media and taking advantage of what social media has to offer. And yes, I know it might seem insignificant to folk in terms of what I'm talking about, lighting and what have you, but it is all part of your look, or all part of your presentation.
The optics.
Okay. Listen, the mayor is not going to sit down in front of a camera unless things are in place.
Yeah.
Okay. And he has a team, and that is their job. Okay. The governor is not. The governor is getting which is kind of ironic. They're giving the governor an Emmy, okay, for his coverage of his handling of the COVID. Yeah. I mean, he's doing his job, but because
the optics have to be right,
because he paid attention and is paying attention to what he looks like when he presents whatever information it comes.
Right.
I mean, the people who managing television and so forth say, well, you know, look at this guy. You know, this guy's. You know, we have to recognize him for that. And I'm saying the Grenada, and I said I have the same criticism for the NNP side, because I look at with the Prime Minister. Every time that they're going to present the Prime Minister, it's always lack of lighting.
Or lack of
very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare do they have him lit properly. Okay.
I wanna turn a little bit. We have about 5 more minutes, Janko, before we bounce out. And I appreciate you giving me that time frame to chat a bit. But I want
on this one.
I know. I owe you big on this one. I wanted to go to the question that you asked earlier, and the response that was given. And one of the responses was, okay, well, you need to listen to the Heartbeat program on a particular network, right? But the thing about it is, I think, and that's what any political organization, and that's just an advice. So you guys could take it or not take it. I'm not politically aligned or anything like that, right? You have to make your information widely available, because I may not listen to your political broadcast or your podcast or your program.
Right.
Someone from the other side may not listen to you, but how is it widely available for everyone that a neutral person could get access to that information? Because they say, okay, they spoke about it on the Hot Talk program and they spoke about it, but it's just a small, minute part of the informational resources that's out there. They need to broaden every political organization. I always tell them that they have so much avenues. They could do bit-sized pieces and send it out to people, let people share it on their WhatsApp, on their Facebook, and make it widely accessible, widely available. I don't have to go listen to the Heartbeat or whatever the program is, or Hard Talk or any one of the programs to hear something that has to do with a response. It should be widely available. Information is free.
It should be free.
It's free now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I give them a lot of hits for not having information widely available and widely accessible, and encouraging people to listen to a specific program on a specific day. I don't
Because
know. I don't know what it is.
if you're not a member of the party, or if you're not a supporter of the party, right? And even some supporters would tell me that, little John, you know, I mean, I didn't know that I didn't know that they still had a program on. Okay, and okay, you might have the program on your Facebook page, but it's not nowadays. Facebook is not the only avenue to take advantage of. Press releases. When I was an assistant editor at the Voice. The paper is died now, but when I was an assistant editor with the Voice, and I would get information on a soldier who's from Queens, who got some special, you know, award or something like that when he was, you know, where he's assigned. I don't know who this person is, but there's a press release, a photograph, and information about the soldier. That would then, you know, the editor and myself and the publisher would sit and look at and say, well, is this worthy of going in the paper, right? And based on who the person was, or based on the information being provided about him, and so on and so forth, it gets placed in the paper. Because at the time it was a Queen's paper, right? And the guy, whoever, or the gal, whoever she was or he was, because they're from Queens, that story was relevant to Queens, and so it went into the paper. You are the official opposition party. You have an event, or you take a stand against something that is on a national interest, and you're going to lock it in your little box of the hot dog program, and then think that everybody going to see it, and everybody going to have an idea as to what you're doing. They have been dead. They have been quiet. They have been out of touch for the longest while. Franca Bernardine, whatever her issues are, I'm not in a position to challenge that, but it has been dead. She has been a non-factor in terms of when the history is written. Her leadership, she didn't even make a bump, you know, for the time that she's there. And then to come in now this morning and trying to soft soak people with you know, this kind of a response that you have, weak.
Yeah. All right, thank you, John Crow. Thank you so much for joining us in this very impromptu.
I want to I could make a beg. I had to make my beg, you know.
Hey?
And I had to make my beg. For those of you who are listening to me right now, I'm asking you to go to the GoFundMe page. $5, $10, whatever you could afford. We are at I think the fund is about $2,000, right? We're still working towards. I pull it back down from 10. I'm saying we're looking at at least $5,000. We're trying to raise to ship a container home to Grenada with medical supplies. It's going to the National Council for the Disabled. Charity Drive Grenada Seniors. You go to the GoFundMe page and you put in Charity Drive Grenada Seniors, and please make a donation of some kind. And I'm not telling you to give me $500. If you can, we're going to gladly appreciate it. Junior, you know somebody who could donate $500?
Probably Lois JJ. I'm not sure. I'll find out.
Okay, beautiful. Anybody who could give us a big hit, we appreciate it. The last time I had to big up Mr. Austin Funeral Home. He was generous enough and he gave us a nice little lift. Frances Purcell gave us a nice little lift the last time. She promised me she's gonna do the same this time. Labby Market, Big Mark, told me that he didn't give me a number this time, but I mean I'm counting on him because he was very generous the last time and helping us out.
Yes.
I need the lift that's going to help me ship this container home before Christmas. I'm trying to get it out of my house before Christmas because my wife is about to throw me out, and I really need your help. Go to it's the GoFundMe page. GoFundMe page. Charity Drive Grenada Seniors. Charity Drive Grenada. They tell me how to enunciate my words. Enunciate. Charity Drive Grenada Seniors. We're begging you for at least $5, $10, and get 5 of your friends to do the same thing, and they're going to take us off the top.
Charity Drive Grenada Seniors. We're going to keep that in the loop right here. Janko, thank you so much for joining us and our last minute conversation right here on this topic. Charity Drive Grenada Seniors. Check it out.
On the GoFundMe page. On the GoFundMe page.
And again, guys, thank you for watching. And my conclusion to the all of this here that happened today, I see this as a missed opportunity by the NDC to take full advantage of what were presented here, so that they could make a case to the Grenada people, who is somehow, I think, is their need for a strong leader is they're looking as if they're weak. To me, it came off as the leadership. They have created a leadership vacuum, and there's no strong leader to take the reign. And that's my personal vlog on it. I believe that a lot more has to be done to present the case to the Grenada people, who have seen over four leaders change in leadership over the past 7 years. And they were not able to make a solid case to the Grenada people, at least as of today, as of right now. And I think a lot more has to be done. And as it relates to this broadcast that was held today, I thought that it was a missed opportunity for the NDC to present that case. Hopefully, they get another opportunity to do it and do it right, where we could be fed with proper audio. Not just me. I mean, I know that other media houses got the video feed, but a lot of media houses did not get that video feed, because we all was in the same room waiting, sitting and waiting for that broadcast. So again, a missed opportunity for the NDC, and we're going to continue to look at what's happening on the political realm, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Thanks again for watching, guys. Catch you guys again later. Bye-bye.